would you have, okay, so you guys are old pros, you know what you're doing? Yeah, okay. Go for it.
I've done that.
Oh, you can do harder than that. That's better.
Right. Yeah. Good job.
I'd like to call to order the meeting for Homewood School District 153 Board of Education for
14th.
We do it the whole time.
November 14th, 2022. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bosch?
Here.
Mrs. Bethea?
Here.
Here.
Mr. Zinnerman?
Here.
Mr. Schmidt?
Here.
Mrs. Havenhorst? Mrs. Marks?
Here.
6 present.
We need to have a secretary for this evening.
I'd like to nominate Ashanti Bethea, please.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. And we have approval of the minutes from the regular meeting of the Board of Education for October 11th, 2022. Are there any additions or corrections?
No.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Future dates.
Yes, well, it's an exciting week. This past week, we had our band and orchestra concerts, and this week, we have our school musical. So that's always been a spring event, and we are now moving it to the fall. So Thursday and Friday night, 7 p.m. here at James Hart. I highly recommend, if you want to go, make sure you get your tickets ahead of time because it has sold out in the past. So that's 7 p.m. Thursday and Friday, Madagascar. And then we're excited to bring over our Willow and Churchill kids on Wednesday of this week for a preview of it. So that'll be fun as well for them. And then next week, we have parent-teacher conferences Monday and Tuesday. No students on Wednesday. And then Thanksgiving is Thursday, and we're off Friday. So basically, students don't come to school next week. And parent-teacher conferences Monday and Tuesday.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have several presentations tonight. The first is staff recognition.
Yes, Miss Mandy Sodza, if you could come up here to start. We are excited in Student Support Services to be able to recognize 4 of our staff members, 3 of whom are here, and one of whom, unfortunately, her car broke down and she's not able to be here. But very exciting time the last couple of years. So you're aware we had the pandemic, and 3 of our social workers were able to get their LCSW within the past couple of years. So Wendy, more recently, and then Tanya Duplessis and Beth Hackett also completed their LCSW. So that's a really, really big accomplishment in the social worker world, and we wanted to recognize the 3 of them. So what I'm going to ask is Wendy and Tanya, if you could come up and stand next to Melanie, Miss Mandy Sodza, who's our Director of Student Support Services, and I'm going to read a brief biography about each of you so the audience here can appreciate all of your accomplishments and kind of your philosophy on education. So Tanya, I'll start with you. It says, I received my LCSW in June of 2020. So right after the pandemic started. Congratulations. I've been employed in this district, Homewood School District 153, for 18 years, but have been a social worker, school social worker for over 21 years. And Tanya, your philosophy, building relationships and meeting students where they are, is a key to their success. It is my goal to ensure students' physical, emotional, and mental needs are met in the school environment. One of my quotes I use with my students is, in a world where you can be anything, be kind. And that's a great philosophy. Thank you, Tanya. And then Wendy received her LCSW just recently in July, so a few months ago. Yeah, congratulations. This is Wendy's 3rd year with our school district and her 20th year overall as a social worker. When I was a young girl in Catholic school, that's Wendy, not me. When Wendy was a young girl in Catholic school, I learned about Mother Teresa, who moved my spirit to help others. I discovered schools to be a place where I could bring peace and comfort to those in need. A couple of Mother Teresa's life quotes I aspire to live by are, quote, peace begins with a smile. If we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other. So thank you very much for that. So congratulations to the 2 of you. We'll get a picture here in a second. But I also wanted to recognize Beth Hackett, who is a James Hart social worker. And Beth is the one who unfortunately is having car challenges right now. But Beth earned her LCSW in March of 2020, literally the week before the pandemic. She has worked at James Hart for 17 years. Beth's philosophy: I believe that students learn best in an environment that they feel safe and cared for. Each student has a unique voice and talents that they bring into the world and our school community. It's an honor to help these students navigate the challenges of middle school. And I can attest, I've gotten to know certainly Wendy better in these last couple of years since you've joined us. Tanya and Beth have worked in District 153 a long time, and I know them quite well. But all three of them really, really exceptional at what they do. And the need for social workers has never been greater. And I can assure you that these individuals are as busy as anybody in the school every day. We are fortunate. This board is really, really supportive of providing social work services. So we have 2 social workers in every building, which a lot of places don't have. But the reality is we could easily use 3 or 4 in each building. I mean, that's just the reality. So thank you so much for everything that you do for our kids. And Ms. Mandy Sodes, I believe you have a small gift for each of them.
Just to add, I'm indebted to both of you and the staff and for everything you guys do every day for our students and for this district. And it's an honor to work with both of you, truly. So thank you for everything you do. So just a little token of gratitude. Nothing compared to what we wish we could do. But just to say thank you.
And then Ms. Peck, could we get a picture also? Awesome. If you guys want to go in front of our backdrop. Congratulations again to both of you. That's quite an accomplishment. We're very, very fortunate to have you. I also wanted to recognize our school psychologist at James Hart School, Sharon Perry. And Sharon received an accomplishment or accomplished something that very few people in education accomplish. Sharon completed her doctorate. And I'm just going to read a little bit about her background and then her philosophy as well. So she officially received her doctorate in February of 2020, again, right before the pandemic, but was not officially published and formally recognized by Loyola until February. Actually, she got it in December of 19, but not formally recognized until February of 2020. She received her doctoral degree in school psychology with an emphasis in clinical mental health from Loyola University Chicago. This is Sharon's 8th year in our school district. So Sharon, you and I started roughly the same time, and it's been a pleasure working with you all these years. Sharon says, I hold in high value the belief that every student can learn. This includes the lowest incidence population, those individuals who are severely, profoundly disabled and/or who have multiple disabilities. Every student is capable of learning. With that belief as our foundational tenet, our approach to education then is crucial. So Sharon, wonderful accomplishment for you. And again, we are incredibly fortunate to have you. So if you would like to come up with Melanie.
And Sharon, also the work that she does is so comprehensive and amazing. And honestly, I don't know what I'd do without her. We talk, we discuss, we literally just do so many things to just talk about students and their welfare. And her heart is huge. And everything she does is precise. And it's exactly what our district needs, and we are so much better for having her.
And again, while they're getting ready for the picture, we are fortunate enough to employ a school psychologist in each of our buildings, which, again, a lot of school districts don't have that, and Sharon works here at James Hart. Congratulations, Dr. Perry. It sounds good, doesn't it? Very good.
And to all of you, I know that each of you, your job is not just a job, it's a calling. When you work with students' social and emotional needs, it goes so much further than just a conversation with them. You really are making a profound difference in their futures. And we really appreciate the care and the time and, frankly, the love that you give to all of the kids in 153. So thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Marks. The other group that we would like to recognize here at the beginning of our meeting, we had a tremendous week last week. 1 week ago tomorrow, November 8th, was Election Day, and the much publicized referendum for our school district was on the ballot. And the community supported that referendum effort overwhelmingly to the tune of 71%. So thank you to all of our families who came out and supported our school district and the wonderful work that's happening here. You heard a lot about Citizens for Homewood Schools. That was the nonprofit group that kind of spearheaded the referendum effort. And they did a tremendous amount of work. What you may not know is who exactly is Citizens for Homewood Schools. And so we wanted to recognize the 7 individuals who spent an incredible amount of time the past 3 months preparing for that referendum vote last week. And so I'm going to turn this over to our board president, Ms. Marks, to talk a little bit more. And then we're going to bring forth Citizens for Homewood Schools so we can recognize them by name.
So probably one of the hardest things that a board president has to do is trust a group of people that you don't know to make sure that the referendum that you said needs to be on the ballot gets passed. And boy, did you guys bring it home. I also told you at our first meeting that you were going to make lifelong friendships and that there were going to be times that you were going to wonder why you had agreed to do this, and that in the end, all we needed was 50% plus 1 vote. And I think everything I told you turned out to be quite true. You guys are amazing. You worked as a team when someone needed the help and support of the group. Everybody stepped up and got it done. It didn't matter if it was your portfolio or somebody else's. Everyone came together to make sure this got done. You are small but mighty. And communities all over are struggling with finding quality volunteers. What a group of quality people you all are. It is truly my honor to have worked with each and every one of you. I appreciate what you did for our schools so much, and the impact of this referendum will be felt for years and years and years. It's not a one-time thing. So from the bottom of my heart and the rest of the board, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, if you want me to.
And we have certificates for you, and we'll just do this way. Hold on.
Do you want that microphone, just so they can hear it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we got to have a microphone.
Oh, well, then I'll do it here. I'll give these to you.
Here, let me open them up.
All right, let's see. We have Sarah Young, who was our communications guru. Hope Zawaski, who was our canvassing everything guru. Christine Scully, whose fundraising skills we will find another use for, I promise you. Becky Popelka, another fundraising whiz, and truly, you were the person who every time something like came up, okay, I'll take care of it. Oh, that doesn't fall in anybody's lap. I'll take it. So thank you. Carol Hum also, who did, this word isn't coming to me tonight because canvassing, clearly, like I never want to canvass again. Canvassing, and you took amazing notes, so we appreciate that. And Annie Lawrence, one of our co-chairs, who did her best to keep us all in line, which, along with Mike Dickover, our co-chair, who kept everybody in line, truly herding kittens was easier than keeping this group in line. You're welcome.
All right, we need to get a picture of them as well. And yes, a nice round of applause for our Citizens for Homewood Schools.
Where's Karen?
Someone come squat with me.
Sorority squad, just squat.
Carol, this is for you. Everybody else.
Thank you again. As Shelley said, the work you did is going to be felt here for literally decades, and that's something that not many people can say. So to the 7 of you who I've gotten to know quite well, and we've gotten to know quite well, thank you so much. Before we dismiss, we always like to do our celebrations at the beginning, and then let individuals go who would like to go before we conduct our regular meeting. I also wanted to recognize everyone seated at the front of the table here, because tomorrow is National School Board Members Day. And
There's no school tomorrow, right?
I wish.
I thought it was a non-attendance.
Yeah, this is American Education Week, and American Education Week is to celebrate everybody who works in public schools and the great work that happens. And often under the radar is National School Board Members Day. Believe it or not, these people are not doing this work because of the incredible compensation they get, which is zero. So what they do for love of helping kids. And I cannot possibly thank them enough, because in terms of a Board of Education being supportive of me, but also more importantly of our kids and our staff, you won't find 7 individuals who do it better and who are more selfless than these people. And so it's really, really a privilege for me to learn from them and to work with them. Many of them are veterans at what they do. Some are newer to the board, but all of them bring the same passion and love for kids. And so I just wanted to make sure everybody who is here got to hear that, because our board members, it's a thankless job, but incredibly, incredibly important. So to the 6 of you who are here, and to Deb, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for what you do.
Thank you. And if you are here tonight and you really don't care about the rest of our business, this is a really good time to go home. You are always welcome to stay, but I don't want anyone to ever feel like you have to.
Have a great night again. Thank you.
Have we ever had anyone stay? Has anyone ever stayed when we say?
No. Oh, but look. Will you
Some
pass
future
this to
board
Michelle?
members out there, you might want to stick around and keep an eye on, right?
Right.
I think we talked about this last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
There is some correspondence when we get to that point.
Okay. Superintendent, sorry, report of board committees, and no, I am way in the wrong place. Is there anyone in the audience who came to address the board on anything that is not on tonight's agenda? And we have not had any questions or concerns, so we don't have any answers or responses. Any board members have any reports?
Yes, we have, I have an educational progress report. We had our last policy manual meeting just last week, so we will be finalizing that and then bring it for approval to the board in December, and then after that, it will, upon approval, it'll be posted.
Thank you. Anyone else? I have one thing. We'll be providing breakfast at all of the buildings this week. So if anyone can visit the buildings in the morning, Wednesday is James Hart, Thursday is Churchill, am I correct? Thursday is Willow,
Yeah.
and Friday is James Hart.
Friday's Willow.
Friday, thank you.
No, let's see here.
No.
James Hart, Willow,
Willow,
Churchill.
James Hart, Willow, Churchill. So if you can stop by in the morning, I can give you the times, but it's when they're arriving at school, when the staff is arriving at school. That would be great to help pass out breakfast and greet our great staff and thank them. Okay, superintendent's report.
Yeah, for my superintendent's report, I obviously wanted to mention American Education Week, but we also have our administrative team in the back. And so I'm going to ask each of them to come up and just share a little bit. So much of what we've been doing the last 2 years has either been pandemic or referendum. And now we get to talk about education. This is fun. So I'm just going to kind of look around the back there. If you could come up and give us a brief overview of what's going on. So Ms. Schaeflein, we'll start with you. Ms. Schaeflein is our Director of Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment, more commonly known as CIA. And Kathy, you'll want to speak into that microphone so everyone can hear you at home.
I would like to update you on the fabulous instruction that has been going on since we've been back in person post-COVID, specifically with our new staff. Since the beginning of the school year, I have had the pleasure of visiting all 20 of our new certified staff members, newly hired certified staff members, and I get to observe them and evaluate them. We use a rubric called the Danielson rubric. Two of the main things I look at is their classroom environment and their instruction. And I can tell you that 100% of our new staff members are outstanding in their classroom instruction and their classroom rapport. Most specifically, I am amazed at the relationships they have built with their students. I have to document evidence for all of that, and I have seen it in every one of them. Additionally, I've seen really engaged classroom activities and a lot of learning going on. And so to my fellow administrators in the back of the room, this is a credit to you and the hiring that you've done of all these wonderful staff members. So thanks guys, we've got some good stuff going on. I'm really happy that we have them here. And we hope that we have them for a very long time. Thank you, citizens from home and school.
Thank you, Ms. Schaeflein. Ms. Mandy Sodza, I know we got to celebrate some of your staff this evening, but what would you like to add? And Ms. Mandy Sodza, while she makes her, it's a long walk. It's like on The Price is Right. You got to come running down to the front. Director of Student Support Services.
Thank you again for everything. So a couple of highlights in student support services. We are training and have trained almost all of our special education teachers in Orton Gillingham Reading Program, which is a multi-sensory approach to reading, which has been wonderful because in our area we may find that students have trouble reading for various different reasons, and so to be able to have a whole body approach to reading is amazing. And we started this probably about a year and a half ago, so my goal was over 2 years to be able to train all teachers, and we are going to meet that mark by the summer. One wonderful highlight is that even though you may have a student that starts off and has an IEP. That doesn't mean that you will have this forever. We did have this past week a student that has graduated out of our program. The child started in our Daily Living Skills program, which is an amazing program for all students, and now is at Churchill and does not have an IEP anymore and is moved to a college.
Nice.
So that shows plans in action and early intervention works, and so we just want to keep up the good work that we're doing. So, quick highlight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mandy Souza. Next, I'll introduce Ms. White. She is our Director of Technology, and she got a head start coming up here.
I just want to mention as well to the citizens for public schools, thank you for all you do. I know everybody is so busy, the amount of time you guys spend is amazing. We so appreciate everything you did. For the technology department, this year has been, I hate to say it out loud, but kind of like a normal year. It's been great. My staff has had, all of their beginning of the year activities going on and getting everybody work functional and settling into the year. One of the big projects we did this summer was to replace all of our aging smart boards with interactive displays. They have amazing capabilities that our smart boards did not. We are all learning every day some new great feature that they have. We have started training staff. Everyone has kind of got the basics down, and every month or so we're doing little additional trainings as we go. As we have institute days and school improvement days, we'll be able to continue training everyone on those. Another big focus for this year is something that all districts are focusing on as cybersecurity becomes a bigger and bigger issue for school districts. We are focusing really hard on staff training, so we are training our staff. We do phishing tests to kind of teach our staff what to look for in phishing emails, and don't open it up if you're not sure about it, all of that. So we're focusing on a whole bunch of security measures this year as well. So it's a good start to the year.
Very good. Thank you, Beth. Next, I will bring up James Hart Principal, Ms. Johnson.
Did you all know the state and need to say thank you? Good evening, everyone. Just a couple things with James Hart. Number one, we got Panther Time up and running, and that's our period where we have interventions, and it's an all hands on deck. I have a study hall that we're going through grades, we're looking at assignments, and then also interventions are taking place in the classroom. So very excited that that's up and running to give that extra support for students, as well as our SEL lessons. Monday is SEL day here at James Hart. So we have a block of time that we're going through our second step curriculum. I'm jumping in those classrooms too, being a part of those conversations. Like Scott said, we had last week was so much in music. We had band and we had band and orchestra last week. We had our Veterans Day program, which was amazing as well. We got Madagascar Junior coming up, and then one of the things we got our first trimester PBIS rewards. And even though it's an open gym for one period, I'm so excited when we looked at the grade levels. We've got each grade level has over 200 students coming, meaning they met that criteria in terms of great behavior, and I love to celebrate great behavior. So again, it's just an open gym, but it's amazing, and we've got goodie bags and an open gym this week that'll be going on for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Next, I'll bring up Churchill Principal, Dr. Schnorr.
Hello, good evening. A couple of things have already been mentioned, but we're coming to the end of the trimester, so we have parent-teacher conferences around the corner, so we're getting ready for those important events. So report cards are going to be issued on Friday. We have also, this week, we are in the midst of anti-bullying week, so each day we have a very special spirit week and are celebrating and learning how to create no bully zone every day at Churchill. So that's part of what we're doing this week. Something that was really cool, our Early Act Club, we have clubs and activities, and one of our clubs is Early Act. We partner with the Homewood Rotary. This group of students actually did a coat drive. They collected a bunch of coats, and now Churchill has its very own coat closet where It's wide open to anybody in the school, so coats, hats, gloves, if needed, they can come and get it. It's just open to anybody who might need it. This was mentioned already too. We've had our 5th grade orchestra had an amazing performance. We're looking forward to our all-school field trip on Wednesday. And we also have 2 resources I just want to mention that are just super helpful to us this year. Lexia Core 5 is a new main, it's a supplemental adaptive technology resource that has roots in Orton Gillingham, which you heard Ms. Manning talk about. It's filling the gaps for many of our students in terms of their reading, and we're seeing lots of growth using that tool. And then finally, Ripple Effects is another tech tool that we're using to supplement our Second Step program, our social emotional learning. We did use it to intervene with our Tier 3 behavior intervention students who were showing difficulties in that area, but it is now a Tier 1 program that all kids have access to that we're embedding into our Tier 1 program. Everybody's working really hard, we're working together, and it's been a really great trimester. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Schnorr. Dr. Gibson, I will have you come talk a little business office if you'd like to come up and share anything. I know we'll be talking about the levy briefly later on today. As he's coming up, Melissa Lawson, our Willow principal, is not feeling well and wasn't able to be here. I did have the opportunity just today to observe a kindergarten teacher in action. And I think I shared with all of you that I subbed in a kindergarten room a few weeks ago. And all I have to say is kindergarten teachers are angels on earth. It is an amazingly challenging job. I don't know how else to say it, especially for a former high school teacher. Incredible work, and the teacher I got to see today did a fabulous job. But that is, you go home tired every night, I'm sure. Absolutely certain. All right, Dr. Gibson, thank you.
Right. I'll say first, me as well. Listeners from Homewood, we had multiple committees over the past years of referendums. You got a small group, you did a great job with the team that you had, so really appreciate the work that you did. We, in the business office, several things going on. Obviously, the biggest thing has been referendum, of course. It's interesting because we do a lot of work up front, and then once the committee takes over, that's where all the action is, and a lot of time spent helping them out. Our biggest thing that we've had has been implementation of a time and attendance system where we're electronically doing time cards, time sheets. We're starting to get to where we will have data coming in remotely, and then it goes to payroll and gets paid without really anybody touching the paper. So we're at the stage now we're working with time sheets that are paper items that are used by teachers and other staff to do what's called extra duty. And that's more people, a lot more people that we have to deal with that. But we've got some help getting that implemented, and so that's a big piece. I want to make sure that's done within the next few weeks. But that's been a long time coming. Obviously, we got the tax levy coming up, which is integrated with the referendum. We'll be talking about that. Not a ton today, but we'll also have another meeting where we have a hearing in December to talk about that. We've had new staff today, this year, rather, 2 new staff that are with us. Really, great assets to the office. One person we're kind of growing our own with the payroll, which is interesting. Most school districts in our south suburban area and likely the state of Illinois have trouble finding payroll people. And we're actually getting someone that we're kind of growing in that position. So that's really, really beneficial for us. That's really about it.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Gibson. And finally, as Mr. Keene, Kevin Keene, comes up, he's our Director of Buildings and Grounds. I will mention what Dr. Gibson just mentioned. We have 2 brand new people in the district office, in payroll and in transportation. Mary Markert retired after many years, and that's a really challenging job. So Alma Gonzalez has taken over in that position and is doing outstanding work. And then, of course, Dr. Gibson is counting down the months. So we will begin the process. He is retiring in June. We will begin the process of searching for his replacement soon, and I'll be meeting with the Personnel Committee to start that discussion. But I'm gonna cherish all the time that I get to spend with him and glean as much information as I can while we still have him. All right, Kevin.
All right. Well, again, thanks to the committee and the board for passing that referendum so we can keep doing projects around here. I know the ins and outs of all these buildings, and Dr. McAllister is very interactive with that. He wants to see everything, take them on the list, we take them everywhere. So as everybody knows, we did do the big project this summer. We're still tweaking, a little warm in here, but all the new equipment is all installed. We're probably about 90%. There's a couple of little things that haven't gotten to yet, though. We're learning how to use it. It's a whole new system. Everything's computerized. Again, Dr. McAllister was in a room. He goes, "Oh boy, it's cold in here." I got right on the computer and I got the temperature up to where it should be. A couple other things we've done this year. If anybody's gone by on 183rd, there was soffit work done. One was sagging and the other one was not updated, so both have been repaired. The front of James Hart 30. I had the unfortunate, not unfortunate, but with all the shootings, we have had new panic buttons put in all 3 buildings in all the offices. So the league is a little safer with that. What else can we do? The mechanics, we're working. We got more things in the horizon here that, again, Dr. Gibson and Dr. McAllister we're working on for this upcoming summer. Feels like we just got out of summer. We will we'll be addressing some other things, but there's with aging buildings, there's always something that we're putting money to, so we don't spend it frivolously. It goes towards something. So I think that's about all I got for you.
Very good. Thank you, Kevin.
Kevin.
Yeah, I will also add the addition at Churchill is, every day you drive by, you can see the changes at this point. So it's now bricked up. It's starting to look like an addition at this point. The plan, we are still on schedule at this point for January occupancy. So that's exciting. And I know Dr. Schnorr has a big grin back there, 2 classrooms and 2 small group rooms, which one of the challenges, again, is that we, with all the interventions that we're doing in schools these days, working in small group settings, it's really nice to have two small rooms where we can accommodate, a group of 6 to 8 kids with an adult. So we're excited to get that space open and operating soon. And I believe that's it. I just want to thank all of our administrators as well. We talk about the hard work that happens behind the scenes, and administrators put in an incredible amount of time in really, really challenging circumstances. So thank you all for the great work that you do, and I'm glad we were able to hear it tonight.
Thank you. Okay, we have some consent agenda items tonight. The first is a personnel report.
Yes, all the details are in your packet. You can see we are constantly, we have people going on leave for various reasons. We have subs that we're able to hire, variety of positions, and we also created an extra section of social studies at James Hart due to the numbers that necessitated that need.
Okay, great. Any questions on the personnel report?
No.
We need to authorize the chief school business official to pay the usual and customary bills for December 2022. Any questions? We have approval of school report cards.
Yeah, so the last week of October, Illinois released their updated school report card information. All 3 of our buildings received commendable ratings, so we're very happy with that. And just so you know, the biggest part, 50% of the rating, there's a variety of variables that go into that summative designation. But the biggest 2 are how much kids grow in language arts and math. So in the old days, it used to be, did your kids meet this score? And they either did or they didn't. And then, largely because educators said that's not the best way to really judge a school's effectiveness, we cannot control what students know when they arrive, but we can control what they know when they leave. So the state listened and they've revised that. So now the biggest portion of a rating comes from how much kids grow during their time. So regardless of where they end up, did they show gains? And so we're excited to use that information and really start digging in and addressing a lot of the curriculum issues that you heard tonight from the principals and from Ms. Schaeflein and Ms. Mandy Souza are related to trying to get our kids to show growth.
Thank you. Any questions on the school report cards from the board?
So just what Dr. McAllister's saying, I did notice that when I was looking at the Churchill one and then the Hart one. I think Hart was 50% for both math and ELA, and then Churchill was like 60% for each of them. So that was one of the things that stuck out to me when I was reading the stuff in the board packet. Sorry, Charlie. So.
Any other questions or comments from the board? From the audience? All right. We have the approval of a contract with Raptor Technologies.
So one of the things that schools, for years now, but really looking for technology and how technology can help us during crisis situations. And so Raptor is a company that we have worked with for many years. When guests come into our building, if you've ever entered our buildings, give up your driver's license and it gets scanned, that is Raptor Technologies that is providing the software for that. They also offer a suite of programs that essentially enable staff members to basically conduct all their business during a crisis with their smartphone. And right now we don't have that, but utilizing an existing vendor to provide what I think is going to be a real asset to us in our crisis response is what this contract's about. And the videos that I sent, if you had an opportunity to watch those, they're short, they're sweet, but they show you exactly how it works. And I'm excited to bring this to the staff.
Great. Any questions from the board?
No.
From the audience? All right. We have the approval of new clubs at Willow and James Hart.
Yes, back to the referendum. One of the things that we're able to offer, and one of the things that our district takes such pride in, is all the extracurricular offerings that we have, not only at James Hart Middle School, but for even our youngest kids down to Willow. And so 4 new clubs are being proposed with sponsors, and you can read the details on those attachments. But All Kids Bike Club at Willow School. So Goodspeed, one of our local businesses, they have been tremendously supportive of our district. But they basically donated starter bikes, balance bikes, for 25 balance bikes, so we can teach kindergarten kids how to ride a bike. And for a lot of kids, unfortunately, that's something that if you have the money to get a bike, you're able to learn. But if not, you just don't learn how to ride a bike. And in our society with global warming, we want to try to encourage people to ride bikes and take advantage of that as much as possible. So through Goodspeed, they donated that, and our kids are already doing it in class, but we want to do a club so we can get more kids involved. So that's what that club is. A music club at Willow by our new music teacher, Miss Rydell. And then at James Hart, a Lego club and a GSA club. So we're excited about 4 new clubs in addition to all the other clubs that we have. And as always, we're very appreciative of the board's support of those programs.
Questions from the board?
No.
From the audience? All right. We need to set the date and time for the accept change orders for Churchill Construction Project.
As has been the case the past few meetings, as things come up during construction, we need to modify the existing plans. The nice thing is the budget that was approved by you included contingency monies. And so these change orders, they're costing money, but it's already been budgeted, is the bottom line. And these are all things that need to be done. You can read the details in the attachment, but no new change in the overall budget because of the contingency money that we have available.
Any questions on the change orders?
No.
All right. And we need to set the date and time for the public hearing for the 2022 tax levy.
Yes, tonight we will discuss briefly under action agenda the preliminary tax levy, but the actual levy hearing and the approval of the levy will be at our December meeting. So that's the 7 o'clock change, and then the board meeting will be immediately afterwards on December 12th.
And we need to change the time for the regularly scheduled board meeting of December 12th, and that will follow the public hearing immediately.
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented in items 7A, 7B, 7C, 7D, 7E, 7F, 7G, and 7H.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Zinnerman?
Yes.
Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Mrs. Buffet?
Yes.
Mrs. Marks?
Yes.
All ayes.
Motion carries. We have 3 action agenda items tonight. The first is the second payment of October 2022 bills and the first payment of November 2022 bills. Are there any questions on the bills?
No.
Is there a motion to approve?
Moved upon the recommendation of the chief school business official that the Board of Education authorize the second payment of October 2022 bills and the first payment of November 2022 bills in an amount not to exceed $3,156,600, what did I do?
$156,000.
Let me try that again, sorry. $3,156,604.31.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Mrs. Bethay?
Yes.
Mr. Zinnerman?
Yes.
Mrs. Marks?
Yes. Motion carries. We have approval of the preliminary 2022 tax levy.
Yes, so incredibly important for schools is the tax levy. And in layman's terms, this is our request to the Cook County assessor for our taxes. So basically, we put these numbers together. The thing that's important to remember, in Cook County, we are under tax caps. So for 30 years now, we have operated under a system where our levy, the request for tax revenue, can only increase by either CPI or 5%, whichever is less. So you take last year's levy and you say, okay, it can go up by CPI or 5%, whichever is less. And forever, that has always been CPI, because CPI inflation has always been less than 5% until now. And so for the first time in, 4 decades, inflation has actually exceeded 5%. So the levy can only go up in tax cap counties such as ours by 5%. The other important thing to realize, though, with our Citizens for Homewood Schools here, this 2022 tax levy will be able to take advantage of the new limiting rate that was approved by the voters last week. And so, very simple formula. You take the value of property in a district, you multiply it by the tax rate, and that is the tax levy that you can get. And so the value of property in a district is out of our control, right? EAV, equalized assessed value, is determined by the assessor. But that tax rate is what we were, through the efforts of the individuals here and through the support of the community, that tax rate is now a higher number than what it was on the 2021 tax extension. So the good news is our levy will be able to increase by the capped limit, 5%, but also taking advantage of that new tax rate. So you can see the details there. And then Dr. Gibson, when we get to our December hearing, he will go into detail. We will also have a Finance and Property Committee meeting where we will go through these numbers with a fine-tooth comb. But you can see the preliminary numbers there, and those are available for the public to see as well.
Any questions from the board?
No.
From the audience? Okay. Another thank you to you guys. Is there a motion?
Moved upon the recommendation of the Finance and Property Committee and the Chief School Business Official that the Board of Education approve the preliminary 2022 tax levy as presented.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Mrs. Bethay?
Yes.
Mr. Zinnerman?
Heck yeah.
Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
Mrs. Marks?
Yes.
All ayes.
Motion carries. We have employment.
Yes, we have 4 individuals that we are recommending for employment this evening. Maybelline Davis, food service floater. Ramel Harris, special ed assistant at Willow. Deborah Slaughter, food service cashier at James Hart. And LaShawna Carter, a permanent substitute at James Hart.
Any questions? Is there a motion?
Moved upon the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Education approve the employment of Maybelline Davis effective October 26, 2022, and Ramel Harris and Deborah Slaughter effective November 14th, 2022, and LaShawna Carter effective November 28th, 2022, upon the terms recommended by the superintendent, conditioned only upon receipt of a satisfactory criminal background report and upon receipt no later than November 30th, 2022, of evidence of proper legal qualifications for the position to be filled.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Mrs. Bethay?
Yes.
Mr. Zinnerman?
Yes.
Mr. Bosch?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Marks?
Yes.
All ayes.
Motion carries. Are there any discussion items tonight?
No.
Is there any written communication to the board?
Yes, there is. We have a thank you note here. Just have to say thank you. What a marvelous Veterans Day program the James Hart staff and students presented this year. The applause and respect shown by the students was truly heartwarming, and the band performance found to be second to none. If that wasn't enough, we were treated to a delicious breakfast with table decorations and thank you notes from the students. It was so overwhelming. Thank you for a job very well done. Sincerely, Jack C. Soso, Army veteran. And Dr. Jack Sasso is a Korean War veteran and also grandfather to paraprofessional Teresa Schaeflein.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will mention about our Veterans Day program. A few years ago, the board supported the change from being off on Veterans Day to having school on that day. And even though we got some criticism from people, why do you have kids in school on Veterans Day? We felt it was important to teach, if you want to truly honor veterans, then the way you do that is by having a program to honor veterans rather than letting kids sleep in. And so Matt Johnson, our James Hart Band director, he is the one that puts that entire program together. Matt came in when we hired him 7 or 8 years ago, and he said, hey, at my old school, this is what we did. And Matt has taken that bull by the horns and just really turned it into this fantastic program. And he's already talking about ways to improve it, as he does every year. So big shout out to Matt for doing that. But I mean, the veterans, the 15 or 20 veterans who were there and their families, it was a great morning.
And very few dry eyes, I might add. Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
He beat you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all for coming tonight.